Hiya folks, I want to get this suspension unit fitted and completed on my Vauxhall Signum, so let's get going. I've got to rebuild it, but I've got to take a little lug off of here and put it on the new strut. So let's have a look at this. Right, well, as you probably remember, it's been a while now because I've not had the time to do this, plus the weather's been absolutely ludicrous outside. But I actually bought a new strut for the front of the Vauxhall Signum, as you probably know. I had to get a new gaiter because the gaiter on the old shock absorber, when I took it apart, actually had a split in it. I don't know if it's an MOT fail, but it's an advisory definitely anyway. So I got a new one just as a matter of precaution. I did have a new spring for it. The other spring was changed on the other side, so it's prudent to put the new spring on this side as well. So that's what we're going to do today, but let me show you the problem I've got to face at the moment. So as you know, the hassle I had getting this shock, if you see my last Vauxhall Signum videos, I went through two shocks. The first one they sent me was wrong, it was damaged, it was been used, and that was a replacement shock which they sent me. I didn't take a picture of it, but they assured me it was the right one. But as you can see here, the difference from that to the old shock there, that's got a little stem that sticks up there for us to slide on the sensor cable and connector on there, which it doesn't have on here. So what I'm going to do to save me taking it back again, I've had this for a long while now, I'm just going to cut this one off here, and then we're going to just re-weld it on there, and everything else, as I say, is exactly the same. That's what we've got to play with at the moment. So I've got to get all this rebuilt, I've got to compress the springs, and I've got obviously my Clarke spring compressor kit. This is ideal for do-it-yourselfers like me. I've done 3 or 4 with this now, and it works out an absolute treat, so that's fantastic. Let's get moving and get this thing clamped up so that I can undo the top nut, which I have to undo there. Let's turn that round. There it is in there, and I've got a new impact wrench which I'm going to try and get that undone with, because they can be very troublesome to undo, and I'll show you that in a minute. Right, I've got me 1mm disc on my grinder there, as you can probably see. I've got me safety goggles on. So let's get going. Right, that's virtually through there. Just lift that off like that. And that's a little bit I want. And then we'll look at attaching it by welding it back onto there. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, right, I've just cleaned that up on the sandblaster, and as you can probably see there, I've put a couple of chamfers, can you see that, either side there, just to accept a weld a bit better. So that's what I've done with that. So all I've got to do now is just give this a little bit of a grind off these surfaces here, and then refit that on there. That's how it's going to go on there, like that. So I'm just going to give this a little grind. Just bring the old one back up there for a minute, because I want to make sure we get the right distance out, because it might have an issue clearing the shaft if I put it too near to this. As you say, look there. Right, so looking where this one came off of, let's have a look there. From the shaft out, it's 15mm out. So that's fine. So I know that I've got to put this back on here, 15mm out. So we'll just get a pen and mark off of the body where we need it there. There we go. So that needs to be the start of it. And as you can see there, I'll put that little groove in there. Right, okay then, I've got me welder on, I've got me mask on. Let's get this tacked. That should have it tacked into place. Let's just release the clamp. There we go, as you can probably see there. Clip that back onto there now. Right, okay, here we go. I'm just going to turn that over and get it from the other side as well. Right, okay, that's it. Right, okay, that's on there. I'm happy with that. That's not coming off at all, as you can see there. I'm not the greatest welder in the world. In fact, I'm not even a welder, so just to show you penetration on both sides there. it's going to do the job nice and solid, so I'm happy with that. And as you can see, where I've rubbed the paint away, it's going to need repainting. I'm going to give this a scuff up now with some 500 sandpaper, just to allow a key for the paint to adhere to. And it's so handy having a welder, because normally this sort of job would have you stumped. And as I say, within probably 10 minutes, I'm able to get this job ready and carry on with the installation again. So there we go, there's that. Cleaned up like that. Quick wipe down with some panel wipe. You don't have to go through all this hassle, but I know it's a new part and it's going to be clean, but you do get contamination. As I say, it's not a showroom finish, it's just a blinking lug on a shock at the end of the day, but I just want to make sure it does stick and cover and protect. Right, that's that. And I've just got this Rust-Oleum black there. It's a gloss black, so I'm just going to use this. It's a lot old can I'd laying about. And just going to give this a couple of light coats. Get the edges in as well. Turn it over. There we go. That should be it. I'll put that to one side now, just to let it dry off, and go on to the next stage and stripping down that old shock, because all I need off of this, I mean technically speaking I'm renewing all this, but I need this top cap, so I've got to take this top cap off, which means undoing that big nut there so the spring can uncompress. And to do that, as I said to you, I'm going to use my Clarke coil spring compressor set. So that's what I've got from Machine Mart, and that's what I'm going to use. Right, well, here's these clamps that I use. As I say, they come from Machine Mart, they're Clarke, and I've had no problems whatsoever with them. You'll hear so many people in comment section saying, oh, you don't want to use them, they're dangerous. At the end of the day, there's a name behind them, Clarke. You can get them on eBay and unbranded. I don't think I'll go for them, even though they might come from a similar sort of supplier. They put their name to these at the end of the day, so they've got to do the job. And they've also got the added feature of having this underneath clamp that comes up where you can hold it and it clamps to the spring, so there's no chance of it actually sliding off. So all you have to do is position these around your strut, and as I say, there is 3 of them here. Do lubricate your threads as well when you're tightening these up, so you ain't pulling up on dry threads. So you've just got to choose your spring position, whack over the clamps, tighten these little 10mm nuts up underneath so that they're in place, and then start winding down until everything obviously starts to tighten up. So just by spinning them around like that and just dipping them up, you got to do them tight, just enough to hold them on the clamp. And that's basically the first one in position. So you just got to do that with 3 evenly spaced all the way around, and then start pulling up on there. But lubricate your threads, as I said to you. I'll just use WD-40 along there, and then I'll start nipping them up, and when we get to the compression, then we undo the top nut. Right, so that's all 3 clamps on. That's the sort of thing you're looking for, evenly spaced. And then what you do basically then is just to start winding these up. So you don't do it all in one go. You sort of put a bit of tension on that one, spin it round, and do exactly the same to the next one, because that one will be loose. And as I say, don't take it up too much in one go. You can actually count the turns, I would imagine would be quite a good way of doing it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And each time you're taking it up, there's 20 there. Spin it around, as you can see, this one's now loose. And just continue on like this until the spring is fully compressed. And you can then, and only then, remove this nut here. So I'm going to carry on and do this, and I'll see you when this is fully compressed. Okay then, those 3 are tensioned up. As you can see, I've got my safety goggles on. Whenever there's a compressed spring, make sure you keep your health first. And I don't know if you can see or not, but we can actually move that now. The top is actually separate and floating from that. And I've actually got a set of mole grips here. This is sacrificial, all this lot. It's not going to be used again apart from this cap. So I've put a pair of mole grips around that shaft there, the shaft of the damper, and that's going to hold that in place. But undoing that nut can be a right pain if you ain't got the right gear. And we're do-it-yourself mechanics at the end of the day, so there is a good range of stuff out there. And one of them is an impact wrench. I've just got this one from Machine Mart. It's the brushless 18 volt 2 amp hour half-inch impact wrench. It's supposed to be up to 450 Newton meters there, if you can see that. And you get 2 Li-ion batteries with it. It's a quick charger, and it's got also 3 lights on it as well. So let's get this unpacked and just have a quick look at this. Now, as you can see, I haven't used it yet, and there's plenty of these out there on the market. As I say, this one came from Machine Mart. I've used their stuff all the time, Clarke's. I do like Clarke stuff. As I say, anything with a brand name on it. I know you can buy probably cheap stuff off of eBay, but I tend not to do that, because at the end of the day, it's your health and safety at the end of it. So buying unbranded stuff can sometimes fail, and there's not normally a guarantee. You know that when you're dealing with a company, there's a good chance that you're going to have some customer service rather than just buying off of eBay. So here we go. This is it. As you can see, I've not even opened it yet. People have been on about me to getting one of these for an absolute age, because I normally try and undo stuff with hand. I'm an old school person at the end of the day. And again, this hasn't been charged up yet, so I'm not too sure if there's going to be enough charge in this actually. It comes with the 2 batteries. I will stick that second one on charge, but we'll see if it's got enough jump in it to actually do the job. So let's just shut that down for a minute. This is a 21mm nut on the front of this, by the way. So again, 1/2-inch drive, and always use the black ones, which are predominantly meant for impact drivers. So that goes on there like that. 2-speed, backwards and forwards. It's got 3 speeds, I think, or 3. Right, that's doing up, so I want the other way. There we go. Right, let's see if this can undo this. I don't know how tight this is. You're seeing it live with me from straight out of the packet. Right, okay, so I'm going to have to hold that back, but let's get that on there like that. Here we go. Oh, look at that. That's coming straight off. Oh, that makes life so much easier. Believe me, I've struggled with these things in the past, and when I stripped down Jimmy's one on these Astra van, the hassle of getting that nut undone and also done up as well. You need a socket with a hole through the middle and stuff like that, and people were shouting out in the comment section, get yourself an impact driver. Well, that's just whizzed that off, literally. That was all rusted out and that on there as well. I don't know whether you saw that or not. That is actually whizzed it off in absolutely no time, straight out of the box. I will fully charge them up, but this is the bit I need. This is the nut. I need that top mount there, and as I say, these are normally prone to failure, like on the Astra. They rust out in there, and as I say, you have to put a new one on. So that's that I'm going to need. I don't think there's anything else there I need, is there? Apart from, oh, that cap. Yeah, that cap needs to go on. So I'm trying to keep that in order. That goes on the top there, obviously. And then there's the shield plate there. And the rubber bung is also what I need as well. That's got to go back on the new spring as well. So that's what I need there. I'm just going to clean these up now. This is now all redundant. This lot, I'll slowly take the tension off the spring, and then I'll obviously dispose of that. So I'm going to clean that lot up now, and then I'll come back to you. So I'll see you in a minute. Right, okay then, so I've taken the clamps off of the old spring now. Always good to lay them next to each other to make sure you definitely got the right part. We obviously have here. And also to note as well that this gaiter, as you can see there, would go back in this side of the spring. Just lay the springs next to each other. This was obviously the top of the spring. That was obviously the bottom, because it's probably easy to flip them up the wrong way and get it in the wrong way. So do make sure. You can probably see that's got a flatter coil on it there than the other side, which is more tapered, or it tapers down a lot quicker. So always make note of which way the spring comes out as well, and that will give you a good indication on what way the old spring or the new one goes back in. Get rid of that. There's the old split gaiter there. Look, as I say, I don't think that's an MOT fail, but if it is like that, if you've got to do this, change it. Right, just to show you where we are so far, I've started compressing the new spring. I've got it in the right orientation there, as you can see. I've got the new shock absorber over here. You can see where I've done the repair and actually painted it. Now I'm not bothered about rubbing that down. As you can see, the weld is really solid weld there, so I'm really happy with that. And as you can probably see, these pistons there are held in by a clip, so you just undo the clip and that should pop out then, and then obviously measure our compression on our spring to see if we can get everything back together. There we go, it's just dropped out, look. And that's the full length of the piston there, so that's going to go in like that. Now, as you probably know, I've got a couple of things to slide onto there first, one being the rubber cushion mount there, that goes on first. We've then got the gaiter, as you know, which is going to go over there as well, so we could actually slide that on. That just free floats on there. Well, so I'll probably put the gaiter on afterwards. And our spring goes right up in the bottom there, and I don't know whether you can see or not, but there's normally a little stop put point there where the spring, that part there, actually sits into, so make sure you've got the spring right round the right way. So we bring that into there. So as you can probably see at the moment, I'll turn it over, our spring's not yet compressed enough. We're not far off it, as you can see there, look. So I've got to wind these springs in a bit more until I can get that top cover on, so let's do that now. And all I'm doing there is literally take these up a bit at a time. That's 10 on that one. Spin it round. On that one. You don't want to go too much on one. Do them evenly and do them by little bites. It takes a bit of time, but gets the job done. Right, okay, let's try and get this on now. Stand that spring up. Slide that on. So much tension on that spring. Right. Now hopefully that's seating correctly. Let's get that gaiter in there, just like that. We'll have the cover on next. We'll have the bearing, and then we'll try and get that. Right, and we've got the thread sticking through, so now I can put the nut on and the washer, and I'm just going to zip that with my new hammer action wrench. There we go, happy days. And that makes life so much easier having that, I must say. So that's that. I'll tighten it up completely when it's on, because you have to hold back with an Allen key and then turn with a special socket for that. So all I'm going to do now is undo these, and then that'll be the job done. And there we go. There's our shock absorber for our Vauxhall Signum, totally rebuilt now. I've had to use a few specialised tools. One, I've used the clamps for the spring, that's from Clarke, and also this fantastic Clarke brushless 2 amp hour impact driver with comes with 2 batteries, as I've shown you. First time I've ever used it. It still hasn't got a full charge, and yet we was able to do this tough top nut on that shock absorber. Anyway, thanks very much. Hope you've enjoyed this little video. Don't forget to check out my other videos and also my other channel, Retro Hacks, and we'll see you in the next video, and until then, bye for now.